Okay, welcome to a class on IELTS writing. Now, I'm going to introduce some vocabulary today which is essential in any kind of writing exam, but certainly in IELTS writing because you have to do a discursive essay. And anytime you're discussing something in an essay, this vocabulary will be really useful. You know, you need it, you have to use it. And so we'll look at these words first. But then I want to compare them to other types of words like subordinating conjunctions and also prepositions, because all three are completely different and you should not mix them up. Most of the time when I correct punctuation mistakes in essays, it's clear to me that the student doesn't understand the difference between conjunctive adverbs and subordinating conjunctions. So it's a very important topic, this, if you want to get a good mark for your punctuation. And also, really understanding the difference between a preposition and a subordinating conjunction and a conjunctive adverb will mean that you get the sentence grammatically correct as well. So you can see this is important. So what is a conjunctive adverb? Well, it's not a subordinating conjunction, and I can prove it to you. These conjunctive adverbs are very often between two complete thoughts, two complete thoughts. Whereas the subordinating conjunction starts an incomplete thought and joins it onto a main clause, a complete thought. And that means they are different. So when you want to make a list in an essay, you very often need to say, firstly, I think that X is the case. Full stop. Secondly, I think that Y is the case. And often the student will say, firstly, comma. Secondly, comma, and they are right to do so because we very often see that with conjunctive adverbs. But you don't have to use a full stop between the two main clauses. You might use a semicolon, and that's a very good idea sometimes. The semicolon is a weaker break than the full stop, and so sometimes you might think those two ideas are very closely connected. I want to show the reader that they're very closely connected. And so I'm going to use a semicolon and not a full stop. One thing that students sometimes do that is always wrong is they use a comma. So please don't do that. Don't use a comma here between two complete thoughts, because if you do that, that is called a comma splice. And comma splices are mistakes. Okay, so don't put any comma splices in your work. It's best to avoid them in any academic essay, and if you use a semicolon to avoid them, you're doing things very professionally. And so please punctuate like a professional, and secondly, use a semicolon. You know, use colons, use semicolons in your writing. It shows that you're using a range of punctuation. You will get a higher mark.